Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has always stressed the importance of good governance. He has articulated the vision of minimum government and maximum governance. This vision has inspired government agencies in carrying out hundreds of reforms in policies, rules and procedures. This transformation is reflected in the improvement of India's ranking by 42 places in the last 3 years in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business, with India breaking into the top 100 for the first time. I would like to congratulate all those who worked to achieve this. हमारी सरकार अब ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस से आगे बढ़कर देश के जन सामान्य, विशेषकर गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग की जिंदगी को आसान बनाने के लिए उनकी ईज ऑफ लिविंग पे जोर दे रही है। गुड गवर्नेंस का आधार भी यही है कि देश के आम नागरिक के जीवन में सरकारी दखल कम से कम हो। उज्ज्वला योजना के माध्यम से सरकार देश के करोड़ों गरीबों को मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन दे रही है। सौभाग्य योजना के जरिए 4 करोड़ घरों में बिजली कनेक्शन से जोड़ा जा रहा है। 3000 से ज्यादा जन औषधि केंद्र में 800 से ज्यादा दवाइयां कम कीमत पर बेची जा रही हैं। स्टेंट की कीमत नियंत्रित की जा गई है। गरीबों को मुफ्त डायलिसिस सुविधा के लिए विशेष योजना शुरू की गई है। गरीबों और मध्यम वर्ग को आवास योजनाओं की ब्याज दरों से बड़ी राहत भी दी गई है। सरकारी सेवाएं चाहे बस ट्रेन का टिकट हो या कई तरह के प्रमाण पत्र सभी ऑनलाइन उपलब्ध करने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। 2 से 3 दिन के भीतर घर पे आ जाने वाला पासपोर्ट हो या 1 दिन में रजिस्टर होने वाली कंपनी, इससे देश के बड़े वर्ग को लाभ पहुंचा है। सर्टिफिकेट अटेस्टेड कराना की बाध्यता खत्म करना और ग्रुप सी व डी की नौकरियों में इंटरव्यू खत्म करना के लिए न जाने लाखों नौजवानों के समय और पैसे की बचत हुई है। ये सरकार अनावश्यक नियम कायदों के साथ संघर्ष कर रहे हर व्यक्ति को आधुनिक तकनीकी का उपयोग करते हुए राहत देने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है। Madam, while undertaking these reforms and programs, we have worked sincerely and without weighing the political cost. Our government has ensured that the benefits reach the eligible beneficiaries and are delivered to them directly. Many services and benefits are being delivered to the people at their doorsteps or in their accounts. It has reduced corruption and the cost of delivery and has eliminated the middlemen in the process. The direct benefit transfer mechanism of India is the biggest such exercise in the world and is a global success story. Agriculture and rural economy. My government is committed to the welfare of the farmers. For decades, the country's agricultural policy and programs has remained production-centric. We had sought to effect a paradigm shift. The Honorable Prime Minister gave a clarion call to double the farmers' income by 2022 when India celebrates its 75th year of independence. Our emphasis is on generating higher incomes for farmers. We consider agriculture as an enterprise and want to help the farmers to produce more from the same land parcel at lesser cost and simultaneously realize higher prices for their produce. Our emphasis is also on generating productive and gainful on-farm and non-farm employment for farmers and the landless families. अध्यक्ष महोदय, देश के किसानों के अथक परिश्रम का परिणाम है कि आज देश की कृषि उत्पादन रिकॉर्ड स्तर पर है। वर्ष 2016-17 में लगभग 275 मिलियन टन खाद्यान्न और लगभग 300 मिलियन टन फलों एवं सब्जियों का ऐतिहासिक उत्पादन हुआ है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, हमारे दल के घोषणा पत्र में ये संकल्प है कि कृषि को लाभकारी बनाने के लिए किसान भाइयों को उनकी लागत, उत्पादन की लागत से कम 50% से अधिक अर्थात लागत से 1.5 गुना दाम मिले। सरकार इस संकल्प के प्रति संवेदनशील रही है। रबी की अधिकांश अधिघोषित फसलों का न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य लागत से कम 1.5 गुना तय किया जा चुका है। अब हम बची हुई अधिघोषित फसलों के लिए भी इस संकल्प को एक सिद्धांत की तरह लागू करने का फैसला लिया है। मुझे यह घोषणा करते हुए अत्यंत प्रसन्नता का अनुभव हो रहा है कि तय किए गए सिद्धांत के अनुसार सरकार ने आगामी खरीफ की सभी अधिघोषित फसलों का न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य उत्पादन लागत से कम 1.5 गुना करने का फैसला ले लिया है। मेरा विश्वास है कि यह ऐतिहासिक निर्णय किसान भाइयों की आय दुगनी करने की दिशा में एक महत्वपूर्ण कदम साबित होगा। हमारी सरकार किसी भी विषय को टुकड़े टुकड़ों में नहीं वरना समग्रता के साथ सुलझाने की अप्रोच के साथ काम करती है। न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य बढ़ा देना ही पर्याप्त नहीं है। ये अधिक महत्वपूर्ण है कि घोषित एमएसपी का पूरा लाभ किसानों को मिले। इसके लिए यह आवश्यक है कि यदि बाजार के दाम एमएसपी से कम हो तो सरकार एमएसपी की खरीदी करे या किसी अन्य व्यवस्था के अंतर्गत ये सुनिश्चित करे कि किसानों को पूरा एमएसपी मिले। नीति आयोग केंद्र एवं राज्य सरकारों के साथ चर्चा कर एक पुख्ता व्यवस्था तैयार करेगा जिससे किसानों को उनकी फसल के उचित दाम दिलवाए जा सकेंगे। For better price realization, farmers need to make decisions based on prices likely to be available after its harvest. Government will create an institutional mechanism with participation of all concerned ministries to develop appropriate policies, practices for price and demand forecast, use of future and options market, expansion of warehouse depository system, and to take decisions about specific export and import related measures. Madam Speaker, last year I had announced the strengthening of the ENAM and to expand the coverage of the ENAM to 585 APMCs. 470 APMCs have been connected to ENAM network and the rest will be connected by March 2018. More than 86% of our farmers are small and marginal. They are not in a position to directly transact at APMCs and other wholesale markets. We will develop and upgrade existing 22,000 rural huts into Grameen agricultural markets. In these GRAMs, physical infrastructure will be strengthened by using Manrega and other government schemes. These GRAMs electronically linked to ENAMs are exempted from regulations of the EPMCs and will provide farmers directly to make direct sale to consumers and bulk purchasers. An agri-market infrastructure fund with a corpus of rupees 2,000 crore will be set up for developing and upgrading the agricultural market infrastructure in the 22,000 Grameen agricultural markets and 585 APMCs. The task of connecting all eligible habitations with all weather roads has been substantially completed and with the target date brought forward to March 2019 from March 2022. It is now time to strengthen and widen its ambit further to include major link routes which connect habitations to agricultural and rural markets, higher secondary schools and hospitals. The Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana Phase 3 will include such linkages. हम वर्षों से ये कहते रहे हैं कि भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश है। जैसे भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश है, वैसे ही देश के जिले में किसी किसी न किसी विशिष्ट कृषि उत्पादन की जाने जा सकते हैं, लेकिन हमने इस पर विशेष ध्यान अब तक नहीं दिया। जैसे उद्योग जगत में क्लस्टर बेस्ड विकास का मॉडल अपनाया गया है, वैसे ही हमारे जिलों में विशेष कृषि उत्पादन फलों चिन्हित पर उन्हें वैज्ञानिक तरीके से क्लस्टर मॉडल पर विकसित करने की आवश्यकता है। कल्टीवेशन ऑफ हॉर्टिकल्चर क्रॉप्स इन क्लस्टर्स brings advantages of scales of operations and can spur establishment of the entire chain of productions to marketing, besides giving recognition to the districts for specific crops. The Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare will reorient the ongoing schemes and promote the cluster-based development of agri-commodities in regions in partnership with ministries of food processing, commerce and other allied ministries. Our government has promoted organic farming in a big way. Organic farming with farmer producer organizations and village producer organizations in large clusters of preferably 1,000 hectares each will be encouraged. Women self-help groups will also be encouraged to take up organic agriculture in clusters under the National Rural Livelihood Program. Our ecology supports cultivation of highly specialized medicinal and aromatic plants. India is also a home to a large number of small and cottage industries which manufacture perfumes, essential oils and other associated products. Our government shall support an organized cultivation of associate industries. I propose to allocate a sum of rupees 200 crores for this purpose. Food processing sector is growing at an average of 8% per annum. The Prime Minister's Krishi Sampada Yojana is our flagship program for boosting the investment in food processing. Allocation in the food processing ministry is being doubled from 715 crore in the RE for 17-18 to 1400 crore in 18-19. The government will promote the establishment of specialized agro-processing and financial institutions in this sector. Tomato, onion and potato are basic vegetables consumed throughout the year. However, seasonal and regional production of these perishable commodities poses a serious challenge in connecting farmers and consumers in a manner that satisfies both. My government proposes to launch an Operation Green on the lines of Operation Flood. Operation Green shall promote farmer producers organizations, agri-logistics, processing facilities and professional managements. I propose to allocate a sum of rupees 500 crores for this purpose. India's agri-export potential agri-exports potential is as high as $100 billion against a current export of $30 billion. To realize this potential, export of agri-commodities will be liberalized. I also propose to set up a state-of-the-art facility in 42 mega food parks. I propose to extend the facility of Kisan credit cards to fisheries and animal husbandry farmers to help them to meet their working capital needs. इस व्यवस्था से छोटे और सीमांत किसानों को लाभ मिलेगा. Bamboo is green gold. We have removed bamboo grown outside the forest areas from the definition of trees. Now I propose to launch a restructured national bamboo mission with an outlay of rupees 1290 crores to promote bamboo sector in a holistic manner. Many farmers are installing solar water pumps to irrigate their fields. Generation of solar electricity is harvesting by sun by the farmers using their lands. Government of India will take necessary measures to encourage the state governments to put in place a mechanism that their surplus solar power is purchased by distribution companies or licenses at reasonably remunerative prices. Our government set up a long-term irrigation fund in NABARD for meeting the funding requirements of irrigation work. Scope of the fund would be expanded to cover specified command area in development areas. Last year, I had announced the setting up of the micro irrigation fund for facilitating expansion of coverage under the micro irrigation and dairy processing infrastructure development fund to help finance investment in dairy farming. It is now time to expand such focused investments. I now announce the setting up of a fishery and aquaculture infrastructure development fund of fisheries sector and an animal husbandry infrastructure fund for financing infrastructure requirement in the animal husbandry sector. The total corpus of these two funds would be rupees 10,000 crores. Our government has already steadily increasingly the volume of institutional credit for agricultural sector on a year-to-year from 8.5 lakh crores in 2014-15 to 10 lakh crores in 2017-18. I now propose to raise this amount to rupees 11 lakh crores for the year 2018-19. Presently, lessee cultivators are not able to avail crop loans. Consequently, a significant portion of the arable land remains fallow, and tenant cultivators are forced to secure credit from usurious moneylenders. Niti Aayog, in consultation with the state governments, will evolve a suitable mechanism to enable the access of lessee cultivators to credit without compromising the rights of the landowners. Government will extend a favorable taxation treatment to farmer-producer organizations for helping farmers to aggregate the needs of input farm services, processing and sales operation. I shall give the details of this in part B of my speech. Air pollution in the Delhi NCR region has been a cause of concern. A special scheme will be implemented to support the efforts of the government of Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and NCT Delhi to address the air pollution and subsidized machinery required for an in-situ management of the crop residue. अध्यक्ष महोदय, देश की वर्तमान शीर्ष नेतृत्व गरीबी को बहुत करीब से देखकर गरीबी के में जीकर यहाँ तक पहुँचा है। SC/ST वर्गों की, पिछड़ों की, आर्थिक रूप से कमजोर वर्गों की चिंताएं होती हैं, उन्हें भली भांति परिचित है। गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग के लिए केस स्टडी नहीं, बल्कि वो खुद ही केस स्टडी है। पिछले 3 वर्षों से सरकार की योजनाएं का केंद्र गरीब रहा है, मध्यम वर्ग रहा है। ये सरकार गरीब की छोटी-छोटी चिंताओं और बड़ी-बड़ी समस्याओं को दूर करने के लिए लगातार कोशिश करती रही है। गरीब महिलाओं की लकड़ी के धुएं से मुक्ति के लिए मिले, इसके लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उज्ज्वला योजना शुरू की थी। शुरुआत में 5 करोड़ गरीब महिलाओं को मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन का लक्ष्य रखा था, लेकिन इस योजना की गति को देखकर महिलाओं इसकी लोकप्रियता को देखते हुए इसका लक्ष्य बढ़ाने जा रहे हैं। अब सरकार उज्ज्वला योजना के तहत 8 करोड़ गरीब महिलाओं को मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन देगी। देश में हर गरीब के घर में रोशनी पहुंचे, इसके लिए सरकार द्वारा प्रधानमंत्री सौभाग्य योजना की शुरुआत की गई है। इस योजना के तहत देश के 4 करोड़ गरीब घरों को बिना की कोई शुल्क के बिजली कनेक्शन से जोड़ा जा रहा है। इस योजना पर 16,000 करोड़ रुपए खर्च किए जा रहे हैं। घर का 1 घंटा बिजली ना हो तो हम लोग इधर उधर दौड़ने लगते हैं। टीवी कैसे चलेगा, मोबाइल कैसे चार्ज होगा, लैपटॉप का क्या होगा, ये सोचने लगते हैं। अब आप उन लोगों की सोचिए, उन महिलाओं, उन बच्चों के बारे में सोचिए जिनके घरों में अब बिजली पहुंचेगी तो किस तरह से जिंदगी प्रधानमंत्री सौभाग्य योजना बदलने जा रही है। गरीब को सरकार के स्वच्छ भारत मिशन से बड़ा लाभ पहुंचा है। इस मिशन के तहत सरकार ने अब तक 6 करोड़ से ज्यादा शौचालयों का निर्माण कर चुकी है। इन शौचालयों का सकारात्मक प्रभाव नारी की गरिमा, बेटी की शिक्षा और पूरे परिवार के स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा पर स्पष्ट रूप से पड़ा है। अगले वित्तीय वर्ष में हमारा लगभग 2 करोड़ शौचालय बनाने का लक्ष्य है। अध्यक्ष महोदया, गरीब की एक चिंता रही है सिर के ऊपर अलग छत की। भ्रष्टाचार करके जुटाई गई बेईमानी संपत्ति से दूर गरीब को बस ईमानदारी की कमाई से एक छत, एक छोटा सा मकान चाहता है। गरीब अपने घर का सपना पूरा कर सके, इसके लिए हमारी सरकार उसकी पूरी मदद कर रही है। हमने लक्ष्य रखा है कि 2022 तक देश के हर गरीब के पास उसका अपना घर हो। इससे लिए ग्रामीण और शहरी इलाकों में प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना शुरू की गई है। प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना ग्रामीण के तहत 2017-18 में 51 लाख और वर्ष 2018-19 में 51 लाख यानी 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा सिर्फ ग्रामीण इलाकों में बनाए जा रहे हैं। शहरी क्षेत्रों में 37 लाख मकान बनाने के लिए मदद स्वीकृत की गई है। My government will also establish a dedicated affordable housing fund in the National Housing Bank, funded from priority sector lending, shortfall and fully serviced bonds authorized by the Government of India. Loans to self-help groups of women increased to about 42,000 crores in 16-17, growing 37% over the previous year. The government is confident that the loans to the self-help groups will increase to 75,000 crores by March 2019. I propose to substantially increase the allocation to the National Livelihood Mission to rupees 5,750 crores in 2018-19. Groundwater irrigation scheme under the Prime Minister's Krishi Sichai Yojana, Har Khet Ko Pani, will be taken up in the 96 deprived irrigation districts where less than 30% of the land holding gets assured irrigation presently. I have allocated rupees 2,600 crores for this. As my proposals outlined above indicate, the focus of the government next year will be to provide a maximum livelihood opportunities in the rural areas by spending more on livelihood, agricultural and allied activities and construction of rural infrastructure. In the year 2018-19, for creation of livelihood and infrastructure in rural areas, a total amount to be spent by ministries will be rupees 14.34 lakh crores from extra budgetary and non-budgetary resources of rupees 11.98 lakh crores. Apart from employment due to farming activities and self-employment, this expenditure will create 321 crore person days, 3.17 lakh kilometers of rural roads, 51 lakh new rural houses, 1.88 crore toilets, and provide 1.75 crore new household electricity connections besides boosting agriculture. Details are given in Annexure 1 of this speech. Health, education and social protection. My government's goal is to assist and provide opportunity to every Indian to realize her full potential, capable of achieving her economic social dreams. Our government is implementing a comprehensive social security and protection program to reach every household of old widows, orphan children, Divyang and deprived as the socio-economic caste census. Allocation of National Social Assistance Program has been kept at rupees 9,975. We have managed to get children to school, but the quality of education is still a cause of concern. We have now defined learning outcomes and national national survey of more than 20 lakh children has been conducted to assess the status on the ground. This will help in devising a district-wide strategy for improving the quality of education. We now propose to treat education holistically without segmentation from pre-nursery to class 12. Improvement in the quality of teachers can improve the quality of education in the country. We will initiate an integrated B.Ed program for teachers, training of teachers during the service is extremely critical. We have amended the Right to Education Act to enable more than 13 lakh untrained teachers to get trained. Technology will be the biggest driver in improving the quality of education. We propose to increase the digital intensity in education and move gradually from blackboard to digital board. Technology will also be used to upgrade the skills of teachers through the recently launched digital portal Diksha. The government is committed to provide the best quality education to the tribal children in their own environment. To realize this, it has been decided that by the year 2022, every block with more than 50% scheduled tribe population and at least 20,000 tribal people will have an Ekalya model residential school. Eklavya school will be on par with the Navodaya Vidyalayas and will have special facilities for preserving local art and culture besides providing training in sports and skill development. To set up investment in research and related infrastructure of premier institutions, including health institutions, I propose to launch a major initiative called the Revitalizing of Infrastructure and Systems in Education RISE by 2022 with a total investment of rupees 1 lakh crore in the next 4 years. Higher Education Financing Agency would be suitably structured for funding this initiative. Our government had taken up the major initiative for setting up an Institute of Eminence. There has been a tremendous response to this initiative by institutions in both public and private sector. We have received more than 100 applications. We have taken steps to set up a specialized railway university at Vadodara. We propose to set up 2 new full-fledged schools of planning and architectures to be selected on a challenge mode. Additionally, 18 new schools of planning and architecture would be established in the IITs and the NITs as autonomous schools, also on a challenge basis. The government would also launch the Prime Minister's Research Fellows scheme this year. Under this scheme, we would identify 1,000 best B.Tech students each year from premier institutions and provide them with facilities to do PhDs in the IITs and the Indian Institute of Science with a handsome fellowship. It is expected that these bright young fellows would voluntarily commit few hours every week for teaching in a higher educational institution. Now I come to the health sector. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya is the guiding principle of my government. Only Swasth Bharat can be Smrit Bharat. India cannot realize its demographic dividend without its citizens being healthy. I am pleased to announce 2 major initiatives as a part of the Ayushman Bharat program aimed at path-breaking interventions to address the health holistically in primary, secondary and tertiary care systems covering both prevention and health promotion. The National Health Policy 2017 has envisioned that health and wellness centers as the foundation of India's health system. These 1.5 lakh centers will bring healthcare system closer to the homes of the people. These centers will provide a comprehensive healthcare including a non-communicable diseases and maternal and child services. These centers will also provide free essential drugs and diagnostic services. I am committing rupees 1200 crores in this budget for this flagship program. I am also invite contribution from the private sector through the CSR and the philanthropic institutions in adopting these centers. Madam Speaker, we are all aware that lakhs of families in our country have to borrow or sell assets to receive indoor treatment in hospitals. Government is seriously concerned about the impoverishment of the poor and the vulnerable families. Presently, the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana provides an annual coverage of only rupees 30,000 to poor families. Several state governments have also implemented and supplemented health protection schemes by providing varying coverages. My government has now decided to take healthcare protection to a new aspirational level. Madam, this is important. We are now launching a flagship national health protection scheme to cover 10 crore poor and vulnerable families. This is approximately 50 crore beneficiaries. By providing them up to 5 lakh rupees per family per year for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. This will be the world's largest government-funded healthcare program. Adequate funds will be provided for smooth implementation of this program. Madam Speaker, Madam, 10 करोड़ परिवार यानी 50 करोड़ लोगों को 5 लाख रुपए प्रति वर्ष हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन की सुविधा ये सरकार उपलब्ध करवाएगी। Madam Speaker, these two far-reaching initiatives under Ayushman Bharat program will build a new India 2022 and ensure enhanced productivity, well-being and avert wage loss and impoverishment. These schemes will also generate lakhs of jobs, particularly for women. The government is steadily but surely progressing towards a goal of universal health coverage. यानी कि इस 50 करोड़ की जो सुविधा है उसको आगे भी एक्सपेंड किया जाएगा इस एक्सपेरिमेंट को देखने के बाद। Tuberculosis claims more lives every year than any other infectious disease. It affects mainly poor and malnourished people. My government has therefore decided to allocate rupees 600 crores to provide nutritional support to all TB patients at the rate of rupees 500 per month for the duration of their treatment. In order to further enhance accessibility of quality medical education and healthcare, we will be setting up 24 new government medical colleges and hospitals by upgrading existing district colleges in the country, district hospitals in the country. This would ensure at least one medical college for every 3 parliamentary constituencies and at least one government medical college in each state in the country. Our resolve of making our villages open defecation free is aimed at improving the quality of life of our villages. We will launch a scheme called for galvanizing organic bio-agro resources dhan, gobar dhan, for management and conversion of cattle dung and solid waste in farm to compost, fertilizer, biogas and bio-CNG. The Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Bima Yojana has benefited 5.22 crore families with life insurance cover of 2 lakhs on payment of premium of rupees 330 per annum. Likewise, under the Prime Minister's Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, 13 crore 25 lakh people have been insured with personal accident cover of rupees 2 lakhs on payment of a premium of only rupees 12 per annum. The government will work to cover all poor households, including scheduled caste, scheduled tribe households, under these in a mission mode. The government will expand the coverage under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana by bringing all the 60 crore bank accounts within its fold and undertake measures to provide services of micro insurance and unorganized sector pension schemes through these accounts. Our commitment towards Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is unflinching. Sukanya Smriddhi account scheme launched in January 2015 has been a great success. Until November 2017, more than 1.26 crore accounts have been opened across the country in the name of the girl child, securing an amount of rupees 19,183. Cleaning of Ganga is of national importance, and it is our firm commitment that members will be happy to learn that the work is gathered speed. A total of 187 projects have been sanctioned under the Namami Gange program for infrastructure development and river surface cleaning, rural sanitation and other interventions at a cost of rupees 16,713 crores. 47 projects have been completed and the remaining projects are at the various stages of execution. All 4,465 Ganga Gram villages on the banks of the river have been declared open defecation free. To give focused attention and to achieve our vision of an inclusive society, the government has identified 115 aspirational districts taking various indices of the development in consideration. The government aims at improving the quality of life in these districts by investing in social services like health, education, nutrition, skill upgradation, financial inclusion, infrastructure like irrigation, rural electrification, potable drinking water, and access to toilets at an accelerated pace and in a time-bound manner. We expect these 115 districts to become a model of development. Economic and social advancement of hard-working people of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes has received care and attention. Our government has increased a total earmark allocation in the SCs in the 279 programs from rupees 34,334 in 16-17 to 52,719 in 17-18. Likewise, for STs, the earmark allocation was increased from rupees 21,811 in 16-17 to 32,508 in the RE in 17-18 in the 305 programs. I propose to the earmark allocation of 56,619 crore for SCs and 39,135 crore for STs in the BE of 2018-19. Government estimated schematic budgetary expenditure on health, education and social protection for 18-19 at 1.38 lakh crores against an estimated expenditure of 1.22 lakh crores in the BE of 17-18. Details are given in this expenditure. The expenditure is likely to go up by at least 15,000 crores in 18-19 on account of the additional allocations during the year and the extra budgetary expenditure, including through the higher education financing agencies itself. MSME and employment. Medium, small and micro enterprises are a major engine of growth and employment. I have provided rupees 3,794 crores to the MSME sector for credit support, capital and interest subsidy on innovations. Mass formalization of business of MSMEs is taking place in the countries after the demonetization and the introduction of the GST. This is generating an enormous amount of financial information database of the MSME business and the finances. This big database will be used for improving the financing of the MSMEs and the requirement including the working capital. It is proposed to onboard public sector banks and corporates on the Trade Electronic Receivable Discounting System platform and link this with the GSTN. Online loan sanctioning facilities for MSMEs will be revamped for prompt decision making by the banks. Government will soon announce measures to effectively address the non-performing assets and the stressed accounts of the MSMEs. There will be this will enable a larger financing of MSMEs and also considerably ease the cash flow challenges faced by them in order to reduce the tax burden on the MSMEs and to create a large number of jobs. I will be announcing some measures in Part B of my speech. The Mudra Yojana launched in April 2015 has led to a sanction of rupees 4.6 lakh crore in credit to some 10.38 crore Mudra loans. 76% of the loan accounts are of women and more than 50% belong to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and OBCs. It is proposed to set up a target of rupees 3 lakh crores for lending on Mudra under 2018-19 and having successfully exceeded the targets in the previous term. The non-banking financial companies stepped up financing of the MSMEs after demonetizations. MSMEs can become a very powerful vehicle for delivering the loans under Mudra. Refinancing policy and eligibility criteria set up by the Mudra will be reviewed for better refinancing of the MSMEs. Use of fintech in financial space will help the growth of the MSMEs. A group in the Ministry of Finance is examining the policy and the institutional development measures needed for creating the right environment in the fintech companies to grow in India. Venture capital funds and angel investors need an innovative and special development and regulatory regime in their growth. We have taken a number of policy decisions, including launching of the Startup in India program, building a very robust alternative investment regime in the country, and rolling out a taxation regime designed for the special nature of the VCFs and the angel investors. We will take additional measures to strengthen the environment for their growth and successful operation of the alternative investment fund in India. Creation of job opportunities and facilitating generation of employment has been at the core of the policy planning. During the last 3 years, we have taken a number of steps to boost employment and generation in the country. These measures include contribution of 8.33% of the EPF for new employees by the government for 3 years, contribution of 12% to EPF of new employees of 3 years by government sector, employing large number of people such as people like textile, leather and footwear, additional deduction to employees of 30% of wages paid for employees under the Income Tax Act, launch of National Apprentice Scheme and stipend and support and sharing of the cost of the basic training by the government to give training to 50 lakh youth by 2020, introduction system of fixed term employment for apparel and footwear industry, increasing paid maternity leave from 12 weeks to 26 weeks along with the provision for creches. These measures have started showing results. An independent study conducted recently has shown 70 lakh formal jobs being created in this year. To carry forward the momentum, I am happy to announce that the government will contribute 12% of the wages of new employees in EPF for all sectors for the next 3 years. Also, the facility of fixed term employment will be extended to all sectors. To incentivize employment for more women in the formal sector and to enable higher take-home wages, I propose to make an amendment to the Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act to reduce women contribution to 8% for the first 3 years of their employment as against 12% or 10% with no changes to the employees' contribution. The government is setting up a model aspirational skill center in every district in the country under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendra program. 306 Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendras have been established for imparting skill training through these centers. The government has approved a comprehensive textile package of rupees 6,000 crores in 2016 to boost the apparel and made-up segments. I now propose an outlay of rupees 7,148 for the textile sector in 2018 and 19. Infrastructure and financial sector development. Infrastructure is the growth driver of the economy. Our country needs massive investment estimated to be in excess of 50 lakh crores in infrastructure to increase growth of GDP, connect and integrate the nation with a network of roads, airports, railways, ports, inland water, and to provide good quality services to the people. We have made an all-time high allocation in rail and road sector. We have committed to further enhancing public investment. Provision of key linkages like coal for power, power for railways, and railway rakes for coal have been rationalized and made very efficient. Prime Minister personally reviews the targets and the achievements in infrastructure sectors on a regular basis. Using online monitoring system of Pragati alone, projects worth rupees 9.46 lakh crores have been facilitated and fast-tracked. To secure India's defense, we are developing connectivity infrastructure in the border areas. Rohtang Tunnel has been completed to provide all-weather connectivity to the Ladakh region. Contract for the construction of the Zojila Pass Tunnel of more than 14 kilometers is progressing well. I now propose to take up the construction of a tunnel under the Sela Pass. For promoting tourism and emergency medical care, government will make necessary framework for encouraging investment in the seaplane activities. Urbanization is our opportunity and priority. My government has rolled out 2 interlinked programs, Smart City Mission and the Amrut. Smart City Mission aims at creating 100 smart cities and state-of-art amenities. I am happy to inform that 99 cities have been selected with an outlay of rupees 2.04 lakh crores. These cities have started implementing various projects like Smart City Command Control Center, Smart Roads, Smart Solar Roof, Intelligent Transport Systems, Smart Parks. Projects worth rupees 2,350 crores have been completed, and work of rupees 20,852 crores has been under progress. To preserve and revitalize the soul of the heritage cities of India, National Heritage City Development Augmentation Yojana has been taken up in a major way. India is blessed with an abundance of tourist attractions. It is proposed to develop 10 prominent tourist sites into iconic tourism destinations by following an holistic approach involving infrastructure and skill development, development of technology, attracting private investment, branding and marketing. In addition, tourist amenities at 110 Adarsh monuments in the Archaeological Survey of India will be upgraded to an enhanced visitor experience. The Amrut program focuses on providing water supply to all households in 500 cities. State-level plans of rupees 77,640 crores for 500 cities has been approved. Water supply contracts for 494 projects worth rupees 19,428 crores and sewage work contract for rupees 272 projects costing rupees 12,429 crores has been awarded. Reforms have been catalyzed by these missions. 482 cities have started credit ratings. 142 cities have got investment grade ratings. My ministry will leverage the India Infrastructure Finance Corporation to help finance major infrastructure projects including investment in education, health infrastructure, or strategic and larger societal benefit considerations. The government has scaled new heights in the development of the road infrastructure. We are confident to complete the national highways exceeding 9,000 kilometers during 2017 and 18. The ambitious Bharatmala project has been approved for providing seamless connectivity of interior and backward areas and borders of the country to develop 35,000 kilometers in phase 1 at an estimated cost of 5,35,000 crores. To raise equity from the market for its mature road assets, NHAI will consider organizing the road assets into a special purpose vehicle and use the innovative mobilization structures like toll, operate and transfer and infrastructure investment funds. Strengthening the railway networks and enhancing railways carrying capacity has been a major focus of the government. Railway CapEx for the year 2018-19 has been pegged at rupees 1,48,528 crores. A large part of the CapEx is devoted to its capacity creation. 18,000 kilometers of doubling and third and fourth line works of 5,000 kilometers of gauge conversion would eliminate capacity constraints and transform almost the entire network into broad gauge. There are also significant improvement in the achievement of the physical targets of the railways itself. We are moving fast towards optimal electrification of railway network. 4,000 kilometers targeted for commissioning during 2017-18. Work on eastern and western dedicated freight corridor is also in full swing. Adequate number of rolling stock, 12,000 wagons, 5,160 coaches and approximately 700 locomotives are being produced during the year 2018-19. A major program has been initiated to strengthen the infrastructure, goods shed and fast-track commissioning of the private lanes. A safety-first policy with application of adequate funds under the Rashtriya Railway Sanrakshana Kosh is a cornerstone of the railways. Focus on safety. Maintenance of track infrastructure is being given special attention. Over 3,600 kilometers of track renewal is targeted during the current year. Other major steps include increasing use of technology, fog-safe train protection and warning system. A decision has been taken to eliminate 4,267 unmanned railway crossings in the broad gauge network in the next 2 years. Redevelopment of 600 major railway stations is being taken up by the Indian Railway Station Development Company Limited. All stations with more than 25,000 footfalls will have escalators. All railway stations and trains will be progressively provided with Wi-Fi, CCTVs and will also provide at all stations and on trains to enhance security passengers. Modern train sets with state-of-art amenities and features are being designed at the Integrated Coach Factory, Perambur. First such train set will be commissioned during 2018-19. The Mumbai transport system, which is the lifeline of the city, is being expanded and augmented to add 90 kilometers of double line track at a cost of rupees 11,000 crores. 150 kilometers of additional suburban network is being planned at a cost of rupees 40,000 crores, including elevated corridors in some sections. A suburban network of approximately 160 kilometers is also being, at an estimated cost of rupees 17,000 crores, is being planned to cater to the growth of the Bengaluru metropolis. Foundation of the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet train project, India's first high-speed rail project, was laid on September 14, 2017. And
institute is coming up at Vadodara to train the manpower required for the high-speed railway project. For the first 3 years, the domestic air passenger traffic grew at 18% and our airline companies placed orders for more than 900 aircrafts. Regional connectivity scheme, UDAN, initiated by the Government of India last year, shall connect 56 unserved airports and 31 unserved helipads in the country. Operations have already started at 16 such airports. सरकार की इस पहल से हवाई चप्पल पहनने वाले नागरिक भी अब हवाई जहाज की यात्रा Airport Authority of India now has 124 airports. We propose to expand our airport capacity more than 5 times to handle 1 billion trips a year under the new initiative. Navnirman balance sheet of Airport Authority of India shall be leveraged to raise more resources for funding and expansion. Our efforts to set up a coalition on the disaster resilient infrastructure for developing international good practice, appropriate standard and regulatory mechanism for resilient infrastructure development is moving well. I propose to allocate 60 crores for kickstarting the initiative. The government and the market regulators will then have taken necessary measures for developing and monetizing vehicles like the Infrastructure Investment Fund and the Real Estate Investment Fund. The Government of India would monetize select CPSC SEs using the InvITs from next year. In the current year, we included in the scope of harmonized list of infrastructure, ropeways to promote tourism, logistic parks, and expanded the scope of railway infrastructure to include development of commercial land around the railway station. The Reserve Bank of India has issued guidelines to nudge corporates to access the bond market. SEBI will also consider mandating, beginning with large corporates to meet about 1/4 of their financing needs from the bond market. Corporate bonds rated at BBBB or equivalent are investment grade. In India, most regulators permit bonds with the AA rating only as eligible for investment. It is now to move from AA to A grade ratings. The government and the concerned regulators will take necessary action. We will take reform measures with respect to the stamp duty regime on the financial securities transactions in consultation with the states and make necessary amendments in the Indian Stamp Act. International Financial Service Center at the GIFT City, which has become operational, needs a coherent and integrated regulatory framework to fully develop and to compete other offshore financial centers. The government will establish a unified authority for regulating all financial services in the IFCS in India. Global economy is transforming into a digital economy thanks to the development of the cutting-edge technologies in the digital space. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 3D printing, and like. Initiatives such as the Digital India, Startup India, Make in India would help to establish itself as a knowledge and digital society. Niti Aayog will establish a national program to direct our efforts in the area of artificial intelligence, including research and development of its applications. Combining cyber and physical systems with greater potential to transform not only innovation ecosystems but also our economies and the way of life. To invest in research, training and skilling in robotics, artificial intelligence, digital manufacturing, big data intelligence, quantum communications and the art of things. Department of Science and Technology will launch a mission on cyberspace in support of establishment of centers of excellence. I have doubled their allocation on the Digital India program to rupees 3,073 in 2018-19. The task of connecting 1 lakh Gram Panchayats to high-speed optic fiber network has been completed under phase 1 of the BharatNet program. This has enabled broadband access to cover 20 crore rural Indians in about 2,50,000 villages. The government also proposes to step up 5 lakh Wi-Fi hotspots, which will provide a broadband access to 5 crore rural citizens. I have provided rupees 10,000 crores in 2018-19 for creation and augmentation of this telecom infrastructure. To harness the benefits of emerging new technologies, particularly the 5th generation technologies and its adoption, the Department of Telecom will support the establishment of the indigenous 5G testbed at IIT Chennai. Distributed ledger system on the blockchain technology allows organization of any chain of records or transactions without the need of intermediaries. The government does not consider cryptocurrencies as legal tender or coin and will take all measures to eliminate the use of these crypto assets in financing illegitimate activities or as part of the payment system. The government will explore use of blockchain technology proactively for ushering in a digital economy. The system of toll payment physically by cash at the road plazas is being fast replaced by the FASTags and other electronic payment systems to make roads seamless. Number of FASTags have gone up from about 60,000 to December 2016 to more than 10 lakh now. From December 2017, all class M and N vehicles are being sold only with the FASTag tags. The Government of India will come out with a policy to introduce a toll system on pay-as-you-use basis. In order to create employment and aid growth, government's estimated budgetary and extra budgetary expenditure on infrastructure for 18-19 is being increased to rupees 5.97 lakh crores as against an estimated expenditure of rupees 4.94 lakh crores in 17-18. Details are given in Annexure 3. Our armed forces have played a stellar role in meeting the challenges we have been facing on the borders as well as managing the internal security of both Jammu and Kashmir and Northeast. I would like to place on record our appreciation for the efforts and the sacrifices made by the services in defending the interest of the nation. Ever since the NDA government assumed office, a lot of emphasis was given to the modernizing and enhancing of the operational capability of the defense forces. A number of initiatives have been taken to develop and nurture intrinsic defense production capable of making the nation self-reliant for meeting our defense needs and ensuring adequate budget support to our priority. We have opened up private investment in the defense production, including liberalizing foreign direct investment. We have taken measures to develop 2 defense industrial production corridors in the country. The government will bring out an industry-friendly defense production policy in 2018 to promote the domestic production by public sector, private sector and the MSMEs. Aadhaar has provided an identity to every Indian. Aadhaar has eased delivery of so many public services to our people. Every enterprise, major or small, also needs a unique ID. The government will involve a scheme to assign every individual enterprise in India a unique ID. To carry on business reforms for ease of doing business deeper and in every state of India, Government of India has identified 372 basic business reform actions. Each state will take up these reforms and simplifications in a mission mode, constructively competing with each other. Evaluating the performance under this program will now be based on the feedbacks. Capital of the Food Corporation of India is being restructured to enhance equity and to raise a long-term debt for meeting a standard working requirement. Budgeting of the Government of India's contribution in equity and the debt of the metro ventures floated by state governments will be streamlined. The Department of Commerce will be developing a national logistic portal as a single window online marketplace to link all stakeholders. The Government of India has approved the listing of 40 PPSCs, including 2 insurance companies on the stock exchanges. The government has initiated a process of strategic disinvestment of 24 CPSCs. This will include the strategic privatization of the Air India. Process of acquisition of the Hindustan Petroleum Corporation by ONGC has been successfully completed. 3 public sector general insurance companies, National Insurance Company Limited, United Insurance Assurance Company Limited, United India Assurance Company Limited, and the Oriental India Insurance Company Limited will be merged into a single insurance entity and will be subsequently listed. The Government of India introduced the exchange-traded fund Bharat 22 to raise 14,500 crores, which was oversubscribed in all segments. DIPAM will continue with more ETF offers, including a debt ETF. 2017-18 budget estimates for disinvestment were pegged at the highest ever level of 72,500 crores. I am happy to inform this House that we have already exceeded this target. I am assuming a receipt of rupees 1 lakh crores from disinvestment for 17-18. I am setting a disinvestment target of 80,000 crores for 2018-19. Bank recapitalization program has been launched with bonds at rupees 80,000 crores being issued this year. The program has been integrated with an ambitious reform agenda and the rubric of an enhanced access to service excellence program. This recapitalization will pave the way for public sector banks to lend an additional rupees 5 lakh crores. It is proposed to allow strong regional rural banks to raise capital from the market to enable them to increase its credit to the rural economy. The National Housing Bank is being amended to transfer its equity from the Reserve Bank to the Government of India. The Indian Post Office Act, Provident Fund Act, and the National Savings Certificate Act are being amalgamated, and certain additional people-friendly measures are being introduced. To provide the RBI an instrument to manage excess liquidity, the RBI Act is being amended to institutionalize the collateralized deposit facility, Securities and Exchange Control Board of India Act 1992, Securities Contract Regulation Act 1956 and Depositories Act 1996 are being amended to streamline the adjudication procedures and to provide penalties of certain infractions. These proposals are given in the Finance Bill. For easier access, links to all detailed documents for grants will be provided at indiagovern.in. The government will also consider the feasibility of providing disclosed financial information in a machine-readable form. The government is transforming method of disposal at its business by introduction of an e-office and other e-governance initiatives in the central ministries and departments. These initiatives are given in annexure 4. The government will formulate a comprehensive gold policy to develop gold as an asset class. The government will also establish a system of a consumer-friendly, trade-efficient system of regulated gold exchanges in the country. Gold monetization scheme will be revamped to enable people to open a hassle-free gold deposit account. The outward direct investment from India has grown to US $15 billion per annum. The government will review existing guidelines and processes to bring a coherent and integrated outward direct investment. Hybrid instruments are suitable for attracting a foreign investment in several niche areas such as startups and venture capital firms. The government will involve a separate policy for hybrid instruments. Now this is important, madam. The emoluments of the president, the vice president and the governors were last revised on 1st January 2006. These emoluments are proposed to be revised to rupees 5 lakhs for president, rupees 4 lakhs for the vice president and rupees 3.5 lakhs per month for the governors. There has been a considerable public debate with regard to the emoluments paid to members of parliament. The present practice allows the recipients to fix their own emoluments, which invites criticism. I am therefore proposing necessary changes to refix the salary, constituency allowance, other expenses and meeting allowances payable to members of parliament with effect from 1st April 2018. The law will also provide for an automatic revision of emoluments every 5 years indexed to inflation. The law will also provide, I repeat, for an automatic revision of emoluments every 5 years indexed to inflation. I am sure the members of parliament will welcome this initiative and which will not suffer any criticism in future. Our country will commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, on 2nd October 2019 to 2nd October 2020. The government and the people of India will rededicate themselves through actions to idols of the Mahatma taught and lived by. A national committee chaired by the Prime Minister, which includes the Chief Ministers of the state, representatives from across the political spectrum, Gandhian thinkers and eminent persons from all walks of life have been constituted to formulate a commemoration program. My government has earmarked a sum of rupees 150 crores for the year 2018-19 for the activities leading to the commemoration. I now turn to the fiscal situation for the year 2017-18 and the fiscal estimates of 2018-19. In 2017-18, the central government will be receiving a GST revenue for only 11 months instead of 12 months. This will have a fiscal effect. There will also be a shortfall of non-tax revenue on account of certain developments, including deferment of the spectrum auctions. A part of this shortfall has been made up through higher direct tax revenues and bigger disinvestment receipts. Total revised estimates of expenditure for 2017-18 are 21.57 lakh crores net of GST compensation transfer to the states, as against a budget estimate of 21.47 lakh crores. Our government assumed office in May 2014 when the fiscal deficit was running at a high level. Fiscal deficit for 2013-14 was 4.4% of the GDP. The Prime Minister and the government have always attached an utmost importance to prudent fiscal management and controlling fiscal deficit. As honorable members would recall, we embarked upon the path of consistent fiscal reduction and consolidation in 2014. Fiscal deficit was brought down to 4.1 in 14-15, 3.9 in 15-16, 3.5 in 16-17. Revised fiscal deficit estimate for 2017-18 is at rupees 5.95 lakh crores, that is 3.5% of the GDP. I am projecting a fiscal deficit of 3.3% of the GDP for 2018 and 19. In order unquestionable credibility to the government's commitment to the revised fiscal glide path, I am proposing to accept the key recommendations of the Fiscal Reform and Budgetary Management Committee relating to the adoption of the debt rule and to bring down the central government debt to the GDP ratio to 40%. The government has also accepted the recommendation to use the fiscal deficit target as a key operational parameter. Necessary amendments are proposed in the finance bill itself. Madam Speaker, I shall now turn to my tax proposals. The attempts made by the government, our government for reducing the cash in the economy and for increasing the tax nets have paid rich dividends. The growth rate of direct taxes in the financial year 2016-17 and 2017-18 have been significant. We have ended last year with a growth rate of 12.6% in direct taxes in the current year, and the growth in the direct taxes till 15th January 2018 is 18.7%. The average buoyancy in personal income tax of 7 years preceding these 2 years comes to 1.1%. In simple terms, tax buoyancy of 1.1 means that if nominal GDP growth of the country is at 10%, the growth rate of personal income tax would be 11%. However, the buoyancy in personal income tax for the financial year 16-17 and 17-18 is at 1.95 and 2.11 respectively. This indicates that the excess revenue collected in the last 2 financial years from personal income tax compared to the average buoyancy pre-2016-17 amounts to a total of about 90,000 crores, which can be attributed to the strong anti-evasion measures taken by the government. Similarly, there has been a huge increase in the number of the returns filed by taxpayers. In the financial year 2016-17, 85.51 lakh new taxpayers filed their returns as against 66.26 lakhs in the immediately preceding years. By including all filers as well as persons who did not file returns but paid tax by way of advance tax or TDS, we can derive the figure of the effective tax base. The number of effective taxpayers has thus increased from 6.47 lakh crores in the beginning of 14-15 to 8.27 crores by the end of 16-17. We are enthused by the success of the measures and are pledged to continue to take all such measures in future by which black money is contained and honest taxpayers are rewarded. Demonetization was received by honest taxpayers as Imandari Ka Utsav only for this reason. Madam Speaker, recognizing the need for facilitating compliance, government has liberalized the presumptive income scheme for small traders and entrepreneurs with an annual turnover of less than rupees 2 crores and introduced a similar scheme for professionals with an annual turnover of less than 50 lakhs with a hope that there would be significant increase in compliance. Under this scheme, 41% more returns were filed this year, which shows that many more persons are joining the tax net under the simplified scheme. However, turnover is still not encouraging. The department has received 44.72 lakh returns for assessment year 2017-18 for individual HUF and firms with a meager turnover of rupees 17.97 lakhs and an average tax payment of only rupees 7,000. The tax compliance behavior of professionals is no better. The department has received 5.68 lakh returns under the presumptive income scheme for the assessment year 17-18 with an average receipt of 5.73 lakhs only. Average tax paid by them is rupees 35,000. Madam Speaker, at present 100% tax deduction is allowed in respect of profit of cooperative societies which provide assistance to its members engaged in primary agricultural activities. Over the last few years, a number of farmer-producer companies have been set up on the line of cooperative societies which have provided similar assistance to its members. In order to encourage professionalism in the post-harvest value addition in agriculture, I propose to allow 100% deduction to these companies registered as farmer-producer companies having a turnover of rupees 100 crores in respect of their profits derived from such activities for a period of 5 years from 2018-19. This measure will also encourage Operation Greens mission announced by me earlier and will give a boost to the Sampada Yojana. Currently, employment generation. Currently, a deduction of 30% is allowed in addition to a normal deduction of 100% in respect of emoluments paid to eligible new employees who have been employed for a maximum period of 240 days during the year under Section 80 JJAA of the Income Tax Act. However, the minimum period of employment is relaxed to 150 days in the case of the apparel industry in order to encourage creation of new employment. I propose to extend this relaxation to footwear and leather industry also. Further, I also propose to rationalize this deduction of 30% by allowing the benefit of a new employee who is employed for less than the minimum period during the first year but continues to remain on the roll employed for a minimum of the subsequent year. Incentive for real estate. Currently, while taxing income from capital gains, business profit and other sources in respect of transactions and immovable property, the consideration of circle rate value, whichever is higher, is adopted, and the difference is counted as an income both in the hands of the purchaser and the seller. Sometimes this valuation can occur in respect of different properties in the same areas because of variety of factors, including the shape of the plot and the location. In order to minimize the hardship to the real estate transactions, I propose to provide that no adjustment shall be made in case where the circle rate value does not exceed 5% of the consideration. Incentivizing micro, small and medium enterprises. In the Union Budget 2017, I had announced a reduction of corporate tax to 25% for companies whose turnover was 50 crores in the financial year 2015-16. This benefited 96% of the total companies filing tax returns. Towards fulfillment of my promise to reduce the corporate tax in a phased manner, I now propose to extend the benefit of the reduced corporate rate of 25% to companies who have a reported turnover up to rupees 250 crores in the financial year 2016-17. This will benefit the entire micro, small and medium enterprises, which amount for 99% of the companies filing their tax returns. The estimates of revenue foregone due to this measure. Madam, are they objecting to any concession to MSMEs? The estimate of revenue foregone due to this measure is rupees 7,000 crores during the financial years 2018-19. Out of this, about 7 lakh companies filing returns, 7,000 companies which file returns of income which is above 250 crores will remain in the 30% slab. The lower corporate income tax rate for 99 companies will leave them with higher investable surplus which in turn will create more jobs. Relief to the salaried taxpayers. The government has made many positive changes in the personal income tax rates applicable to the individuals in the last 3 years. Therefore, I do not propose to make any further changes in the structure of the income tax for individuals. There is a general perception in society that individual business persons are have better income as compared to salaries class. However, the income tax data suggests that a major portion of the personal income tax collection comes from the salaried class. For the assessment year 2016-17, 1.89 crore salaried individuals have filed their returns and have paid a total tax of 1.44 lakh crores, which works out to an average tax payment of rupees 76,306 per individual salaried taxpayer. As against this, 1.88 crores individual business taxpayers, including professionals, have filed their tax returns for the same assessment year period and paid a total amount of rupees 48,000, which works out to an average payment of rupees 25,753 per individual business taxpayer. In order to provide relief to salaried taxpayers, I propose to allow a standard deduction of rupees 40,000 in lieu of present exemption in respect of transport and reimbursement of miscellaneous medical expenses. However, transport allowance at enhanced rates shall continue to be available to differently abled persons. Also, other medical reimbursement benefits in the case of hospitalization for all employees shall continue. Apart from reducing paperwork and compliance, this will help the middle class employees even more in terms of reduction of their tax liability. This decision to allow a standard deduction shall significantly benefit pensioners also, who normally do not enjoy any allowance on account of transport and medical expenses. The revenue cost of this decision is approximately rupees 8,000 crores. The total number of salaried employees and pensioners who will benefit from these decisions is about 2.5 crores. Relief to senior citizens. A life with dignity is a right every individual in general, more so for a senior citizen. To care for those who cared for us is one of the highest honors. To further the objective of providing a dignified life, I propose to announce the following incentives for senior citizens. Exemption of interest income on deposits with banks and post offices to be increased from rupees 10,000 to rupees 50,000, and TDS shall not be required to be deducted on such income under section 194A. The benefit shall also be for interest on all fixed deposit schemes and recurring deposit schemes. Raising the limit of deduction for health insurance and premium and medical expenditure from 30,000 to 50,000 under section 80D. All senior citizens will also now be able to claim benefit of a reduction of 50,000 per annum in respect of any health insurance premium and general medical expenditure incurred by them. Raising the limit of deduction of medical expenditure in respect of certain critical illness from rupees 60,000 in the case of senior citizens and 80,000 in the case of very senior citizens to rupees 1 lakh in respect of all senior citizens under section 80 DDP. These concessions will give extra tax benefit of rupees 4,000 crores to senior citizens. In addition to the tax concessions, I propose to extend the Pradhan Mantri Vay Vandana Yojana up to March 2020, under which an assured return of 8% is given by the Life Insurance Corporation of India. The existing limit of investment of rupees 7.5 lakhs per senior citizen under this scheme is being increased to rupees 15 lakhs. The Government of India had endeavored to develop a world-class international financial centers in India. In recent years, various measures, including tax incentives, have been provided in order to fulfill the objectives. To further this objective, I propose to provide 2 concessions for IFSC in order to promote trade in stock exchanges located in the IFSC. I propose to exempt transfer of derivatives and certain securities by non-residents from capital gains tax. Further, non-corporate taxpayers operating in the IFCs shall be charged alternative minimum tax at a concessional rate of 9% at par with the minimum alternative tax applicable to corporates. Further measures to control cash economy. Currently, the income of trust and institutions is exempted if they utilize their income towards the objects in accordance with the relevant provisions of the Income Tax Act. However, there is no restriction on these entities incurring expenditure in income in order to have audit trail of their expenses incurred in these entities. It is proposed that payments exceeding rupees 10,000 in cash made by such entities shall be disallowed and the same shall be subjected to tax. Further, in order to improve TDS compliance in these entities, I propose to provide that in case of non-deduction of tax, 30% of the amount shall be disallowed and the same shall be taxed. Rationalizing the long-term capital gains. Madam Speaker, currently the long-term capital gains arising from transfer of limited equity shares, units of equity-oriented funds, and unit of a business trust are exempted from tax. With the reforms introduced by the government and the incentives given so far, the equity market has become buoyant. The total amount of exempted capital gains from the listed shares of units is around 3,67,000 crores as per return filed in the assessment year 2017-18. Major part of this gain has been accrued by corporate and LLPs. This has also created a bias against manufacturing, leading to more business surpluses being invested in financial assets. The return on investment in equity is already attractive even without tax exemption. There is therefore a strong case for bringing the long-term capital gains from listed equities into the tax net. However, recognizing the fact that a vibrant equity market is essential for economic growth, I propose only a modest change in the present regime. I propose to tax such long-term capital gain exceeding rupees 1 lakh at the rate of 10% without allowing the benefit of indexation. However, all gains up to 31st January 2018, that is today, will be grandfathered. For example, if an equity share is purchased 6 months before 31st January 2018 at rupees 100 and the highest price quoted on 31st January 2018 in respect of the share is rupees 120, there will be no tax on the gain of rupees 20 if the share is sold after 1 year from the date of purchase. However, any gain in excess of rupees 20 earned after 31st January 2018 will be taxed at 10% if this share is sold after 31st July 2018. The gains from equity shares held up to 1 year will remain short-term capital gain and will continue to be taxed at a rate of rupees 15%. Further, I also propose to introduce a tax on distributed income by equity-oriented mutual funds at a rate of 10%. This will provide a level playing field across the growth-oriented funds and dividend-distributing funds. In view of grandfathering, this change, the capital gain will bring a marginal revenue of rupees 20,000 crores in the first year. The revenues in the subsequent years may be more. Health and education cess. Madam, at present there is a 3% cess on personal income tax and corporate income tax, consisting of 2% cess for primary education and 1% cess for secondary and higher education. In order to take up the needs of education and healthcare and BPL, I have announced in part A of my speech. To fund this, I propose to increase the cess by 1%. The existing 3% cess will be replaced by a 4% health and education cess to be levied on the tax payable. This would enable us to collect an additional rupees 11,000 crores. E-assessment. We had introduced e-assessment for 2016 on a pilot basis and in 2017 extended it to 102 cities with an objective of reducing the interface between the department and the taxpayer. With the experience gained so far, we are now to roll out an e-assessment across the country which will transform the age-old system of procedure of the income tax department and the manner in which they interact with the taxpayer and the stakeholders. Accordingly, I propose to amend the Income Tax Act to notify a new scheme for assessment whereby the assessment will be done in an electronic mode which will almost eliminate any person-to-person contact, leading to greater efficiency and transparency. My other tax proposals on direct taxes are contained in Annexure 5. Indirect tax. On the indirect tax side, this is the first budget after the rollout of the goods and services tax. Excise duties to a large extent and service tax have been subsumed in the GST along with the corresponding duties on imports. Hence, my budget proposals are mainly on the customs side. In this budget, I am making a calibrated departure from the underlying policy in the last 2 decades, wherein the trend largely was to reduce custom duty. There is a substantial potential for domestic value addition in certain sectors like food processing, electronics, auto components, footwear and furniture. To further incentivize the domestic value addition and make in India in these sectors, I propose to increase the custom duty in certain items. I propose to increase the custom duty on mobile phone from 15% to 20% and on some other parts and accessories to 15% and some parts of television to 15%. These measures will promote creation of more jobs in the country. Detail of changes made in the rates of customs as well as the changes made in the excise duty structure are given in the annexure to my speech. To help the cashew processing industry, I propose to reduce the custom duty on the raw cashew from 5% to 2.5%. I propose to abolish the educational cess and secondary higher educational cess and imported goods and in its place impose social welfare surcharge at 10% on the aggregate of duties of customs and imported goods to provide for social welfare schemes of the government. Goods which were hereto exempt from educational tax and imported goods will however be exempted from this surcharge. In addition, certain specified goods mentioned in Annexure 6 of my speech will attract the proposed surcharge at the rate of 3% of the aggregate custom duty only. I propose to make certain changes in the Customs Act 1962 to further improve the ease of doing business in the cross-border trade and to align certain provisions of the commitments under the Trade Facilitation Agreement to smoothen dispute resolution process and to reduce litigation. Certain amendments are being made to provide a pre-notice consultation, definite timelines for adjudication and deemed closure of certain cases if those timelines are not adhered to. With the rollout of the GST, I propose to change the name of the Central Board of Excise and Custom to the Central Board of Direct Taxes and Customs. The necessary changes in the law are being proposed in the finance bill itself. Madam, while making the proposal in this year's budget, we have been guided in our mission to specially strengthen agriculture, rural development, health, education, employment, MSME and infrastructure sectors of that economy. I am sure that the new India which we aspire will now emerge. Swami Vivekananda had envisioned this decades ago in his memoirs of the European travel when he said, and I quote, "You merge yourself in the void and disappear, and let new India arise in your place. Let her arise out of the peasant's cottage, grasping the plough out of the huts of the fishermen. Let her spring from the grocer's shop, from besides the oven of the fritter seller. Let her emanate from the factories, from the marts and from the markets. Let her emerge from the groves and the forests, from the hills and the mountains." Unquote. With these words, Madam Speaker, I commend the budget to this Honourable House for its acceptance. Madam Speaker, I rise to make a statement of the estimated receipts and expenditure of the Government of India for the year 2018-19.
Introduce the bill.
Madam Speaker, I rise to lay on the table the following statement under Section 3(1) of the Fiscal Responsibility and the Budget Management Act 2003. 1. The macroeconomic framework statement. 2. The medium-term fiscal policy statement. And 3. The fiscal policy strategy statement. Madam Speaker, I rise to move.
No, you have laid the macroeconomic statement you have laid. Now we introduce the bill. You have to introduce final bill.
Madam Speaker, I rise to move for leave to introduce the Finance Bill 2018.
Yes. The question is that leave be granted to introduce the Finance Bill 2018. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it, the leave is granted. The Minister may now introduce the bill.
Madam, I introduce the bill.
Yes. Anand Kumar ji.
Madam, I rise to present the 50th report of the Business Advisory Committee.
Thank you. The House stands adjourned to meet on Monday, the 5th February 2018 at 11 a.m.